Hi, and welcome back to Lakes and Storms. My name is Sam. This is Josh, back with another
Hello.
video. And today we're going to be talking about our top 10 players going into next season. We're going to have a little debate style where we don't know what each other's top 10 lists are, and we're just going to go through 10 to 1 and see where our opinions differ, give you guys an idea of where our basketball heads are at.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to prove Sammy wrong and show everyone just how right I am. So it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, we're going to prove each other. Someone's going to get proven wrong going into next year. So.
uh, but
Um,
yeah, first we're gonna talk about our honorable mentions, right? A couple of guys that were left off our top 10 that we
yeah,
definitely think we can't have this video without mentioning. So why don't you
yeah,
start then?
yeah. I think it's gonna start out heated, honestly, with my honorable mentions. But in no particular order, the two honorable mentions I have are Damian Lillard and Jimmy Butler. Um, it feels crazy to leave Jimmy Butler off the list, right? But I don't know. You go down to the top 10 list and you really try to make a hard decision, and it's like someone's got to be the odd man out. And people always use this as a way to prop up Jimmy, like, oh, like he really performs in the playoffs and like steps it up a notch. And that's great. Like you got to love that. But it's also like, all right, if he did that during the regular season or even just like half of that, then they're not an 8 seed and maybe their route to the finals isn't so difficult.
Well,
Maybe they get a top 5 seed or something like that and their route looks a little bit different.
it's a little surprising. I mean, his numbers jumped from 22 points to 26 points in the postseason. Similar assists, similar steals. What's interesting though is I didn't even realize till we were doing the research for this video. Jimmy averaged like close to 2 steals per game throughout the season, 1.8. That's pretty insane. I mean, everyone knows
Yeah.
Jimmy is a defensive player, but shooting 35 from the field in both regular season and postseason is definitely not something you'd expect from Jimmy Butler. But I think that's definitely
Yeah.
good. And then Dame is Dame's interesting. Why don't you talk about him a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, he had a great season, and maybe if the Trailblazers were a first round out in the playoffs this year, maybe he's a little bit higher on the list. And I tried not to like take into account the playoffs too much, but at the same time, the people, everybody above was in the playoffs, and so well, except for Luca, which we'll get to that. And just the production in the playoffs of all these players, just has me thinking a little bit higher of them at the moment. If Dame goes to the Heat, then he's probably easily a top 10 player like a month into the season. But this is just where it stands right now. But who are your honorable mentions?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I mean, I'm gonna seem like a total dummy right now, but I actually didn't have Jimmy was because we had 16 players in our pool, just so everyone knows. We chose from those 16 guys that we both had a consensus on, and Jimmy was my last ranked guy out of all 16. I like
Wow.
as much as I love Jimmy and I respect what he does.
All
I mean,
right, we're on a similar page. Yeah.
I grew up a Bulls fan, but my two guys were Dame and Shea. And like you said, Dame's insane. Like he played 58 games this year. I mean, the major talking point is the amount of games he missed, but like as we'll go through, most of these guys didn't play more than 60 games. Like
Yeah, it's
it's
kind of
right around
crazy.
there.
It's like
Yeah.
a new league that we're in. Although maybe that'll change with the all NBA rules.
Yeah.
Um,
So like you said, Dame is just someone that changes the game. He stretches the court horizontally, not vertically, like you would expect most players to do. But just the amount of like pressure he brings onto the opposing defense is it's pretty profound. And I mean, there's only one other player that's like that, and that's Steph, which we'll eventually get to. Obviously, I think Steph's better than Dame, but he's definitely in a league of his own at the same time. And then Shea, I mean, come on, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, possibly like third best guard in the league right now, maybe fourth if you have Devin above him. I just
yeah.
Shea's insane. What he does around the rim, like no one speeds him up, no one slows him down. He plays at his pace, and that team, like as you guys will probably figure out, I'm a Thunder fan, but Shea was off my top 10, like as much as I love him. So there's no bias here.
I I kind of thought he was going to be in your top 10. I was
I
like,
wanted to, but there was some players, as we'll get to, that I couldn't put him over. It's
yeah, it's
just,
just so close that I wouldn't. I probably couldn't fault you, you know?
Yeah, yeah, but Shea, just what he does, even defensively, like he's not some stopper out there, but his size being 6'6" and how he affects the game. I mean, I really think Shea can possibly jump into the top 10 coming next year. I mean, he was top 5 in MVP voting. I know MVP is not always 5 best players in the league, but I definitely think Shea is one of my honorable mentions. So why don't we start on our list though at number 10? How about you go first?
Yeah, sure. God, someone's gonna be upset no matter what I did say, but I have Devin Booker at 10. Just amazing player throughout the regular season, and then God, we were talking about it earlier today. First round of the playoffs, averaged like 37 points. Like it's just nuts. And would have been cool to see them go a little bit farther in the playoffs, but it is what it is. I think he's a lock for top 10. He's like, I don't know. It's probably pretty comparable between him and Dame, but I think Devin Booker brings a little bit more on the defensive end, so that's why I kind of gave him the edge there.
I think it's hard. I mean, Devin Booker was actually my top 10 too. So I think it's
Okay,
hard though. 11 games played, averaged 33 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, shot 58%, 86 from free throw, and he shot 50% on 3-point in the postseason, like in 11 games.
50.8.
That is,
Yeah,
but yeah, that is some crazy, crazy numbers. I mean, you can just see he exploded in that first round. So I definitely think Devin Booker belongs in the top 10. A couple years ago, I would have killed someone if they said that. Not really, but I would have been like, "Are you kidding me?" But now it's
yeah.
undeniable. Devin Booker is one of the best guards in the league. So yeah, he's my
Cool.
top 10 as well.
All right. You want to go 9? Who do you have at
Sure.
9?
So my 9, and like I know I'm gonna get so much flack for this. My 9 is Steph Curry, and
Whoa. Holy shit.
yes,
Are you kidding me right now?
yeah, yeah. So Steph Curry's my 9, and I know what everyone's gonna say. He's the best guard in the league, but when I was building my list, it's who would I personally want to have on my team, and Steph Curry was the ninth most important player to me in my opinion. So I mean, everyone knows what he
Wow.
does, everyone knows what he brings, but I mean, he had an insane first round and then second round, but yeah, I
Dude,
I, I
that's
do like what he
nuts.
brings, but yeah, I there's players on this list that I would rather have over Steph Curry,
So
and
Steph Curry at the 9. Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Okay. I thought you were going the same direction as me with the 9, just because I feel like I'm gonna get flack for this, especially as a Lakers fan. Um, I have LeBron at 9, um, which feels criminally low, but this was one of those guys that I think I started out with him at like 5, just because, I'm a LeBron fan, I'm a Lakers fan. And then I was trying to be as objective as possible. And the thing with him is he had a great postseason. Don't get me wrong, but I think the other guys higher up on this list did a little bit more. And if this was a conversation about smart players, he's top 2. It's him and Jokic. You can say whoever you want. But the thing I'll say about LeBron is he had great moments in the playoffs. He was also really smart at picking his spots. Like this was not a regular LeBron postseason. It's not like he had the ball in his hands 24/7. Like there were a lot of games where he just kept it super low key until the fourth quarter, and then he'd have a few possessions in a row where he, does some nice stuff. And he had a great defensive run also. He did a lot for us. That 2020 game was absolutely insane. Was that against the Warriors? I don't remember if it was against the
that
Warriors
was
or
that
the
was against the
Grizzlies.
Grizz. Remember
Okay, yeah.
he
Was that the closeout game?
No, no, no. I think it was like the second to last. It was like Brooks said, I don't respect anyone until they drop
Oh,
40." And then it was like the
yeah.
next game he puts up 20 and drops 40 basically, and everyone was clowning him even more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to jump, but actually LeBron's my number 8. I had him
Okay,
ranked
well that's
above
fine.
stuff.
Yeah.
I just think like maybe I'm like a LeBron sexual who's just constantly like meat writing. I just think that what LeBron brings at his size, like his particular skill set. Yes, I know he shot what was it, 26.4% from three in the playoffs. Like he shot way too much, but you have to remember like coming off the injury, like what he was able to do to dominate the game at like the state that he was in, I just personally think that he is better than Steph Curry. I think every year he's in the conversation for top 5 player, just like Steph Curry. But like I said before, if I was building a team, and I get it, he's in his 21st season, but going into next year, if I was building the team, who would you rather have? I'd rather have LeBron James personally.
Okay, so that's your 8. My 8 is Jason Tatum.
Oh my God, that is insane.
It's
That
low.
is insane. Yes, that's low. He was top 5 in MVP. He was
Okay,
the
well,
front runner
you
for
said it
MVP.
literally earlier that MVP voting is not everything, but
Yeah, MVP's but he's not. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll
I
let you
mean,
go.
this is the guy that scored the most points in the regular season. Like not scoring average, but he was the most available and the most reliable. And he did have spots where he kind of like disappeared. Not disappeared, but it wasn't having his full impact in the postseason. But at the end of the day, like this is a premier two-way player who you have to respect his game. And despite him not being able to do everything, like he's figuring it out as he goes. Like probably the next step for him is like the playmaking. He's a fine playmaker right now, but
I
you
mean,
know,
he did get better though. What was it? Where is he? Here he is. He averaged 5.3 assists in the playoffs. I mean, a double double. Like I
right.
told you yesterday,
The
like
double
out of
double
the
was surprising. I didn't realize that he had 10 rebounds per game in the playoffs.
what really surprised me is out of the 10 highest scorers in the league, like average the average per game, he was the only player to play 70 or more games. He played 74 games this year. It's just insane. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it's blasphemy, not mine. So
All right, so then who do you have at 7?
my 7 is Kevin Durant.
Okay. All right.
So KD, everyone knows KD, Slim Reaper, like one of the most insane players to ever step on the court. I mean, 6'11", 7 foot, who cares? Shoot right over the top of you, who yam it on your head. It's just I think that with KD, there's like certain players that I'd rather have, and I did put him over Steph and Braun, but it's just hard. You know, he missed time. It was a weird year in Phoenix. But I just think that what he was able to do in the postseason with that team that they had cobbled together, it just showed how talented he really was. And like coming from me, like I started watching basketball. Like my first year was the year KD left Oklahoma, so I was morphed into a KD hater. Like as I first started getting into basketball, but over time I began to appreciate what he really brings and I just think he's unstoppable. I think he's one of one, and when he's on, he's the best offensive player in the league by far, in my opinion. Better than Steph, better than players we'll get to, better than Jokic. KD is insane. So
I think it's a little low. We'll get to where he's at on my spot. At
the
7, I have
thing with
Anthony Davis,
yeah,
which curious where you have him. I feel like you have him higher because you really do value the defensive end. But yeah, Anthony Davis, the best defender in the playoffs. Uh, I don't know who you bring up to debate against. Like he was an absolute killer. Literally averaged 14 rebounds on God, where is it? 23 points, which is fine because you kind of have the other pieces like adding in for the Lakers, but 14 rebounds and 3 blocks per game, like this is nuts. And he's the biggest reason that we made it to the Western Conference Finals. Like I remember after the trade deadline, I don't know if I was talking to you. I was talking to many people, and I was saying, "Oh no, the Lakers are still a first round exit. Like that's the ceiling for this team." And then, but my caveat was, it all hinges on Anthony Davis, and that's what I'm going to attribute this run to. Of course, we had the other pieces, but you have to have AD doing that in order for you to make a deep run in the playoffs. So yeah, I have him at 7. Who do you have?
AD was my number 6. So
Okay.
everything you said, I agree with 100%. Best player in the playoffs. I just think with AD, like a lot of these players with KD, with Steph, with LeBron, like you have to take into account injury. But when AD is on, AD is a top 5 player in the world. When AD is like at his best, he looks like the best player in the world. I mean, he could switch on the guards. he guarded the best big in the entire league, and yeah, he got cooked, but everyone gets cooked by Yoke. I just think when AD's healthy, the things that he brings, that makes him the sixth best player in the league, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
it's undeniable. I mean, I'm sure some people will disagree, but there's players I even ranked above him that part of me thinks if AD was, if this was 2K and we turn off injuries, is AD the best player there? Possible. I just love what he brings, and
Yeah.
you could see it. You could see it in the playoffs. It was AD's team. LeBron ran the offense, but the team went where AD took them. So
Right.
that's why I personally have him at 6.
So your 7 was KD and then your 6 was AD,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
so
just so I got it
that was
straight.
hard for me. What was hard for me was to rank LeBron, KD, and AD because I just wanted to rank it off the playoffs. I wanted to rank it off what I just recently saw. And out of everything I saw, he was the best player out of those three in the last playoffs. So that's why,
Word.
like I said, he some nights he could be the best player in the world, and some nights he could be street clothes. It just really
Yeah.
depends on how he's feeling that day. But he has the talent to be the best player in the league, and I'm happy. I'm happy he's in LA.
Dude, little side note, this is the funniest thing. So we're doing our like research, we're copying down stats and stuff from Basketball Reference last night. And I pull up Anthony Davis's page and like the third nickname, because it lists all like the players' little like aliases and stuff. Like the third one is street clothes. And I'm just like, what the fuck? That's so disrespectful. I mean, I get it. I've called him Anthony Data Davis. I've called him street clothes before, but it just felt wrong seeing it on a site like that.
Yeah, it's a little
Um,
sad. But who's your 6?
yeah, my 6 is Luca.
Oh my God, Sammy, that is insane. That's insane,
He's on your
bro.
list, right? Like he's left
Of
on your
course he's
list.
on my list.
Okay.
That is
Well,
insane that he's 6 though. Keep going. I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
Go
okay,
ahead.
yeah, it's like the classic one-man offensive engine, and he'll literally do everything for your team. And when we do get to see him in the playoffs, it's been amazing. But at the end of the day, I did knock him a little bit because of the lack of team success, which I try not to take it too heavy into account, but I kind of had to when it comes to like the top 6. Like when we get to the top 5, I think you'll kind of see why he wasn't. But I mean, yeah, this dude, like he's next guy to average a triple double, probably, if not Jokic again. I don't think he technically did this year, but
32, 8 and 8
yeah, it's
on
nuts. He's an
49.
amazing player, like one of my favorite players to watch. But I think everybody on top is a little bit better than him
I
for
mean, I
what they
understand
are.
your reasoning. I don't really fault Luca for team success because of team building. I mean, personally, he is higher on my list, but I understand your reasoning.
Right. Did we go over your 6 already? I'm getting
Yeah.
confused
My
with the
6 was
numbers.
80.
Okay. So do you want to move on
Yeah.
to 5 then?
Yeah. Why don't you go first and then I'll go after?
Yeah, so this is where I have Katie.
Okay.
Rounding out the top 5, I think the top 4 is pretty set for me. And then the 5th guy was kind of hard to choose between all the guys that we just talked about. But yeah, I mean, you already said it all. Like this dude is crazy efficient and huge, and he's really like rounded out the defensive end in the last few years. And he truly does impact the game in all ways, despite you thinking of him as a scorer. Everybody thinks of him as a scorer, but he's gonna do the other stuff too. Like he's gonna make the right play most times, if not all the time.
Put up
I
5
mean, yeah, this is
assists
a
this
hyper
year.
efficient guy. This is literally
Yeah.
like you take away the best player on most teams and put him there, and like the team probably doesn't make any difference. He can fit in
Team
with
probably
any
gets better,
system,
honestly. You
right?
take away the best player, unless it's like some of these upper echelon
Except
teams,
for
and
the
team
like
probably
top
gets better.
3, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Team gets better. Like Katie, I definitely see why you have him top 5. It's just like I said, for me, it was like injuries and stuff, and maybe I have a little bias, but Katie, Katie is in the argument for best player in the world. It's just everything that I had seen last year kind of dropped me down. But I mean, that's kind of unfair. He's getting older, it's
I
hard.
mean, yeah, he still had a fucking amazing year. Let me find the numbers.
Yeah, it's right here. He put up
29,
29,
8, and
6.
7.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts. And like that's oh no, sorry, I was reading the wrong stats.
No, you're good. It's
29,
29,
7 and 5.
6.75. Yeah. 3 turnovers, less than a steal game, block and
I
a
mean, yeah,
half,
literally
56.
50, 40, 90 this year. I don't think people realize that. Like that's absolutely crazy efficiency, especially on the volume. Like you don't really see that. People get used to it because of, Steph
Because it's
and
KD.
the other
Yeah.
guys.
Because it's,
But,
yeah.
that's we can't forget about how impressive 50, 40, 90 for even if it's just 47 games is super impressive.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I hear you.
let's move on. Who's your 5?
So my five was actually Tatum.
Okay.
I
So
know Tatum was a little lower for you. I'm
because the
not like,
two-way, yeah.
yeah, I think what Tatum brings, like I'm far be it from me, I'm like nowhere near a Celtics fan. I just like he did taper off a little in the playoffs, but like you remember watching him going to Boston going against Philadelphia where he just exploded in that last minute and like hit those shots and then what was it like forced game six? I and then the in the finals like it's pushed to game seven, right? They come back, it's all tied up 3-3, and then 1 minute in, he like tweaks his ankle and the game's over basically from there. I think Tatum, what he brings, not only offensively, but like you said, defensively, his assists are going up. Like it's just I think Tatum is a top 5 player in the league. He was top 5 in MVP. He was leading it actually at the beginning of the year, but began to fall off a bit. And I mean, if I was building a team, he'd probably be my top 5 guy. I mean, he's still 20. Everyone knows that. He's been 20 for the past
Right.
5 years. So
Okay. So let me put out a theoretical. I'm curious what you think here. So
okay,
let's throw out age and let's
okay.
throw out like not throw out regular season, but let's take out like the availability factor. So, okay, a 1-for-1 trade, this would never happen. But Celtics and Suns trade uh KD for Tatum. Which team gets better than how they already were?
Phoenix.
You think Phoenix gets better than the
Yeah,
Celtics with KD?
yeah. I
That's
think
crazy.
I think KD is a better offensive player, but I just personally like more what Jason brings and going into next year because we're ranking like our top 10 going into next year, you know. So
Yeah.
I like if it was a one-on-one, probably KD would win, but I just think that that type of player that Tatum is, he's just he brings a lot to the game, and I think I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge Boston fan. I don't like I catch the games every once in a while, but every time I see him, he wows me just in another way. And he's by far the number one over there. He's just like you see him in the playoffs going off, and I just if I was building a team, he'd be my fifth
Cool.
fifth highest ranked player. So
I can respect it. I think the range of like 5 to 8, which is Tatum was my 8, is so hard. Like
yeah,
that was the little section I
for
had the toughest part with.
for
I
me,
flipped
like
so many
yeah,
players around. Um, but yeah, are
yeah,
you
it was
ready
hard.
to?
I was trying to fit in Shea into this because I'm so high on him, but there's no way I
Right.
could put him over Devin and Steph. Though it's
Who do you have
tough.
at
I mean,
4? Sorry,
what about your five though? Did you already do?
KD.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
My four is Luka Doncic.
Oh,
Luka
okay. All right.
Luka Doncic is like LeBron James Jr. Like not defensively, but the way he can handle everything offensively, and he's the entire engine of your offense, and he knows exactly where everyone's going to be even before they know. I just think that Luka is so electrifying. He's so much fun to watch, and the things he does on the court, it's insane. He's one of one, and I understand the defensive ability, but he's 6'7". Like you can slide along with height. That's why Dame didn't make it in my top 10 because he's so bad defensively.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why Trae Young isn't in anyone's top 20 because he's so bad defensively. Like that's why I get it with Luca, but because he's so big and because they're gonna have him guarding the worst offensive player on the other team, I just think everything that Luca brings it's insane. And I think that if I was building a team, Luca would probably be my number one guy, but that's not what we're asking today. So right now he's my number four.
Respectable, respectable. My 4 is Joel Embiid.
Oh, ooh.
Um, I don't know. I
The
remember,
postseason numbers are
dude.
ugly, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I had my list before, like I pulled up the postseason numbers. I had him solid at 4 the whole time. But damn, yeah, those numbers are bad. But I don't know. I'm a huge Joel Embiid fan. I just can't rank him above these three guys. And I've been a guy that back in like probably 2019, 2020, I was saying like, oh, JoJo, like he's due for an MVP. Like this dude's a monster on both ends, blah, blah, blah. And, it's cool that he got the MVP.
It was so
And I don't want to, I
lukewarm
don't want this to
though.
take away from him. Like this is just kind of like a random little side note, but I'm just like, it should have been Jokic's MVP. It should have been. And but yeah, I mean
Yeah,
Joel Embiid, like, oh God, when you just he is a crazy center, and it's like if there was no Jokic, then that is
he'd
what
be the best
everybody
center in
is
the league.
looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
Like, oh, this is the type of center that I want. Like he's a great rim protector, but then he can also bring the ball up the court sometimes. He can score from anywhere inside the arc. He's willing to take it outside the arc on decent efficiency. Um, I understand why he's an MVP guy. I just can't rank him above these three players above him.
yeah. JoJo's insane. JoJo's actually my third ranked guy. Like the reason why there were the other two guys in front, like I just couldn't rank him above. He did win MVP. He had a great year. His numbers did fall off. He was average. He like led the league in scoring at 33. That drops down to 23, 10 less points. I mean, he was shooting 54, drops down to 43, shooting 17% from three in the postseason. I just
Mm-hmm.
think like you got to take into account his injury, and it just wasn't a good year. Postseason wise, I mean, he had a great year. Obviously, he
Right,
won the
right.
MVP and everything, but I think at his best, like we were talking about a little earlier, like what he brings defensively as that rim protector, he's like top two, top three rim protectors in the league. Like you compare him to AD and Giannis, I don't
Yeah.
think they're really as good as those guys, but that I just love his shot. That high post
Oh,
fade. It's so pretty, and what
it's
he
one.
can do
It
with the
looks like one of the
ball.
most automatic shots in the league. Like I see him
Yeah.
take it, I'm like, okay, that's cash.
And then you see him take free throws, and you think it's Steph Curry. Like just the way the ball comes out of his hands, it's so pretty. He has such touch around the rim, and
Yeah, the
he's such
touch.
a force. He's so big and so strong. It's just the thing with JoJo's injuries, that every year
Mm-hmm.
it seems like he's injured. But he was my third ranked guy. I think that one's no debate though. But
Yeah. I have well, I do think it is for debate because my three is Steph, which is why I was so shocked to see you have him this low.
yes,
Like,
10th ranked for me, or ninth ranked. Sorry, ninth ranked.
where's numbers? So in the postseason, 30 and a half, 5.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal and half a block. Uh I don't know. Like this, I just watched Steph and I'm like, yeah, no, he's still like one of the best players. Like he impacts the game. Like everybody talks about, his gravity. It's like when he doesn't have the ball, you still have to worry about him because of off ball movement. And that's such a hard thing to quantify. But it's something that I like started paying attention a little bit more to in the playoffs this year. And it's just like other people like Draymond benefits so much from it. From, like I think Draymond showed a little bit more aggression in the postseason than we usually see from him. And like, Sack would be sagging off him. He'd be like, okay, yeah, no, let me just drive this straight and easiest point 2 points ever. And then, obviously we know what he does on ball. We know like his like when I was watching that Lakers series, just constantly terrified. Like we're up by 6 in a close game, and you're like, well, I'm still scared. Like this is not safe whatsoever. Like all it takes is Steph, hitting a crazy three and then creating for somebody else, or getting a 3-point play the old fashioned way. Like the touch, the shooting, the in between game, everything. Like he is a top 3 player in my book, and I think he will be again this year.
Yeah, no, I mean I get what you're saying. The more you talk, like the more I'm like, oh, did I rank him too low? It's just
I
most
think
of
you
these
did,
guys,
bro. You're fucked,
most
bro. I can't believe you ranked him that low.
Most of these guys I would rather have if I was building my team. I just think I understand what you're saying, but yeah,
I mean, in
Steph
the
is a great player.
context of Golden State, like that does help him. But is it like, is that the system or is he the system?
He's the system.
Right.
NBA's
Like you
basketball's
can't say for
yeah.
sure because he's only ever going to play for Golden State. But yeah,
Well,
he's
it's
a
just like
system in himself.
basketball's a game where you win by who has the best players. Like adding LeBron James to your team can change your future drastically. So
Yeah.
it's definitely he's the system. He's the reason that they're so good. Of course, role players play their roles, but Steph, when he's on, he's the best, probably top two player in the world, and he's obviously the best point guard of all time. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's 9 for me. So maybe I'm a dummy or maybe you are. We'll see.
All right. Here we get into the debate now.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk crazy. I have Giannis at 2, Jokic at 1. I know you have that flipped, right?
Yes, I do. I have Giannis
Which
at
I
1,
think is
Jokic
just
at 2.
crazy. Like I can respect the Giannis pick until the postseason, which you don't want to take it away from him, but it's like I don't know. I am not taking it away from him. The fact that he got injured and got out of the first round, but it's like we just seen Jokic average a triple double in the playoffs or in the finals and like steamroll the league basically. Like it wasn't even close. Like Jokic is so dominant. He God, just in that Western Conference Finals, the amount of just nuts shots that he made against the Lakers that just cut my heart out. There was like 2 each game, probably. It was nuts. And his footwork and his like the passing and even the defense, like he was a solid
No,
defender
he's much
throughout
a
the
better
playoffs.
defender than he's been years
And like
past. He was
right,
he
the
was yeah.
rebounding, like
And
God.
he's so big too, Jokic. He's so big that like it doesn't matter that he can't jump. He's so big that he's still rim deterrent. And I understand what you're saying. It's just the things that Giannis brings, not only offensively but
Right. So
defensively.
tell
This
me
is a
why he's
guy.
better. You just tell me why he's better.
The thing with Giannis, like if I was building my team, I want that strong four that can switch. Giannis can truly switch out 1 through 5. Giannis can guard anyone in the league, and not only that, he's one of the best offensive players. I get it; he's not averaging triple doubles, but me personally, what Giannis brings is insane. It's just like Jokic, where no one else can do exactly what he does. There's players that can emulate. Like Şengün can emulate Jokic, like a big wing can emulate Giannis, but you don't. These are the type players that you don't just come by. Like this is the once in a generation type player, and I just think Giannis brings so much more. And I get it, reigning Finals MVP, like Jokic just won. He demolished like like best the Lakers have looked in forever. It's just I think that Giannis brings so much more, and I know that sounds so insane
So
because
much
Jokic is.
more. Like, oh God, you can't say so much more. Like, there's no way that he is so much better. Like, it's
I
if
don't think
if
he's so
Giannis
much
is
better.
better,
I'm
then
saying he brings
it's
so
like
much.
slightly more. He doesn't bring so much more.
Okay, let me rephrase. He brings so much more defensively.
Okay.
He brings
Yeah.
so much more on the defensive end that obviously Jokic is the better offensive player. I'm not going to argue that. But what he brings defensively is what edges him out for me personally.
Right. God damn
I
it.
mean, I
1 sec.
understand. Yeah.
Puppy, come on. It's okay. Nobody's there. Okay, I'll cut this. Also, we have 2 minutes left on our Zoom
Yeah, I
because
know.
it's okay. I didn't know if you could see that too.
I did. Yeah.
But all right, let's just get back to it. Fuck. Well, I was gonna ask you something. I got totally distracted by the dogs.
Sammy, I understand. I understand what you're saying with Jokic. I don't know. Like seeing Giannis in the 2021 playoffs, and I know that's like 2 years ago. Like, who cares? Just what he did, like in those finals, like was profound to me. I don't think I've ever seen a
Okay.
player be that dominant until Jokic
Jokic.
came.
Jokic was just more dominant than him in that playoffs, dude. Are you kidding me?
No, that's what I was just saying. I just said I don't think I've ever seen a player be that dominant, and then Jokic came,
Oh,
and then
okay.
Jokic came, then
I should have let you
dominated.
finish your point.
It's okay. And then Jokic came and dominated a different way. it's so hard because they each bring their own specific skill sets that are so taboo to everyone else that even emulating it is impossible. It's just I get what you're gonna say. Finding a Giannis will be much easier than finding a Jokic. I just think that Giannis does the things that he does so well that personally, if I was a GM and I'm starting my team, and okay, pick anyone in the league, anyone you want. Everyone has the same exact role players. Everyone has everything. Who do you
Jokic.
want on your team? Me, it's Giannis.
All right, so that's gonna do it for our top 10. I hope you guys enjoyed our little debate, little back and forth. Let us know who had the most outrageous take. I think it's definitely Steph Curry at 8 or 9 or whatever the fuck. But yeah, we had a lot of fun making this video, and we'll be back with some content soon. Anything you want to add, Josh?
No, I mean, listening to your list, like part of me is like, maybe I had some guys ranked too low, but I just think that it's so like personal. It just really depends on each viewer and how they see the players, and there's
Yeah.
definitely some bias, but I'm interested. I'm interested to see next year who really is the number one best player in the league, and I can't wait to be right when it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh no, I mean, I'm saying it could be his year, but voted for Teague out of the way, so it's gonna be Jokic again. So, you know, but yeah, we'll
But
be
yeah,
back
thanks
in
for
another.
watching.
Yeah, we'll be back with another one.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.